Okay, so I'm Suzanne, as I said, I'm from Ashden. We are a climate change organisation, and I am actually the Let's Go Zero project officer. So today I'll give you a bit of background information on what we do at Ashden in general, and then I'll go into more depth with our work with schools and the Let's Go Zero campaign, because that's why we're all here, we work with schools. So Ashden, we're an NGO, a not-for-profit organisation based in London, India, Hong Kong, and soon to have a footprint in East Africa. And we support on-the-ground climate innovation in the UK and globally. And we have these 5 different areas that we work in, and they all sort of complement each other. But our best known work is the Ashton Awards, which finds and champions brilliant innovators. And I mean, that's within the UK as well as globally. And we work with them to scale up their impact and inspire others. We like to inspire others by storytelling and, solution finding and encouraging that small steps do make big differences in the long run. And simply put, we agree that we need to cut carbon fast to avoid the climate catastrophe. And our Ashton winners bring these climate solutions to life. So this year we had our Ashton Awards at COP, which was amazing and a great experience for our winners. And there were 9 winners, and these include a variety of organizations, some who work with solar powered fridges in Kenya, allowing refugee camps to store vaccines. Or we've got people in the UK retrofitting and training up to retrofit buildings. And on our website, which is right at the bottom, I don't know where everyone's videos are, but the ashden.org website has our all our winners, showcasing our winners and their stories. So head to that if you're interested in more about finding out about our winners. Another cool program is the Energy Access Program. So this helps people get access to clean and affordable energy, mainly working with rural communities across the globe. Hence, one of our winners, Solar Freeze, with the solar powered fridges, they would have sort of come into our energy access program as well. Then we've got our cooling program, which is supported by our Fair Cooling Fund. And this supports organizations across the globe working in cooling and helping them scale it up. And by cooling, we mean cooling buildings without using air conditioning, to support those who are most disadvantaged, the poorest, with ideas such as vegetation or white roofs or passive buildings. I mean, the list goes on, but it's to share those stories and ideas across the world and bring people working with cooling. So there's learning and networking going on as well as implementing those solutions. And then, of course, locally in the UK, we've got our cities team that support local authorities to embed climate action throughout all their departments, and looking at it through a co-benefits approach to help councils plan their climate action roadmap, which then leads nicely onto schools, which is my sort of department of work. And we used to run a program called Less CO2, which was similar to the Eco Driver, which is monitoring, looking at your energy levels and monitoring them. But through that work, we spoke to schools and realized that our Let's Go Zero campaign was a real priority in giving schools and young people the voice in central government to ask for the funding and the support that schools need to get to zero carbon by 2030. So our schools campaign is a year old now. It launched on the Youth Climate Summit of November 2020. And it's a campaign for schools across the whole of the UK. So that's England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. And it's for schools to sign up to show their intent and ambition. It's not saying they have to be perfect straight away. It's saying that they want to get to zero carbon and lead in the fight against the climate crisis and be part of the positive solution. We created this campaign because we were inspired by those student marches and by young people demanding action from us. So we thought this would be a great way of giving them a voice, as well as schools the voice to demand action from central government. So why schools? Why do we work with schools? And it aligns really nicely with what Councillor Murray was saying, is that schools are a central point in our communities. And when our students learn things, they go home and tell their parents and their families, and implement change in their wider community. So we work with schools because they can implement and reduce their carbon footprint now. They can reduce their impact on their communities now, but they can also create that long-term behavior change that we need in our society to get to zero carbon. And we've got, I think it's 42% of school-aged children, or soon-to-be school-aged children within all, 42% of households, have school-aged children in them, or soon-to-be school-aged children within the UK. So you can see that's a huge reach across our societies and our communities. So I actually just got an alert saying we've had 800 schools signed up as of this meeting, which is really great. So you can see, well, these are all our Let's Go Zero schools and who signed up where. So we've got a huge array of them, and 800 schools, I think it equates to something like 350,000 students and 35,000 teachers. So you can see the force of nature behind the campaign, and it might seem that 800 out of the 32,000 schools we have in the UK isn't quite that much, but actually it's a huge voice. It's a huge powerful demand to go to central government with that number of schools signing up, and they're calling on the government to support them, which is incredible. So these are our government asks. So we spoke to schools, we spoke to educators and other organizations that work with schools, and we came up with these key policy asks in order to support schools to get to zero carbon. And they include things like more funding to retrofit school buildings, supporting schools put solar panels on the roofs, and creating a climate action plan, and also offering teacher training and teacher support to talk about the climate emergency. Because, I don't know, like 10 years ago when I was at school, climate change was a debate. It wasn't certain in our curriculum and what we were taught, and yet that language is changing. So it's supporting teachers to talk about it in the way that it is an emergency and we need to act on it now. So these are our policy asks, and this is sort of what the schools are demanding from central government for support and help with. And at COP, we went to COP 2 weeks ago, obviously with our Ashton Awards, but also for Let's Go Zero. So this picture here is the Secretary of State for Education. And whilst we were up in Glasgow, we managed to meet with him and physically give him our policy asks. And we wouldn't have been able to do that if we hadn't had, I think it was at that point, 700 schools signed up on the campaign. The more schools that sign up, the louder the voice we have, and the more demand and controlling power we have over these asks. And it was incredible to be able to talk to him and discuss, this education strategy. And they are now consulting Ashton and Let's Go Zero on their education strategy, which we're hoping to figure out, but we're hoping to involve our Let's Go Zero schools and our partners within feeding back on the strategy as well. So the schools will be able to have a say in the core strategy. So it's not just Ashton that works on this campaign. We've got a huge coalition of organizations that support us. These are just a few, but that supporters as well as local authorities that support us. And it's a huge, powerful network of organizations that have all worked in schools in the past. We've developed materials for schools to use. We've got lesson plans, we've got workshops. And instead of making it difficult and all over the place, they're all in one place. So on Transform Our World is the place where it hosts all these resources. And when you sign up to the campaign, it will ask you to share, connect, and act. And click on act, and it will take you to Transform Our World. So here you can download all the resources that you need for free. And there's a really amazing kind of showcase with a video, hopefully that will work, that we've produced in the last month that will really help schools get to zero carbon. So we've got these 7 core pillars, energy, which is sort of Ashton's main focus, but then procurement, food, the Soil Association contributes to that, water, travel, Sustrans has input in that. So we're a huge collaboration of organizations bringing loads of different intelligence and skills for schools to support schools to get to zero carbon. So what can schools do? What can schools do now? We're not saying that every school, you could be right at the start of your journey or you could be halfway through your journey, but it's to act, it's the little steps. So it's to look at the energy on your site and use EcoDriver. It's to, use Venesco and install the solar panels on your roof. It's all the little changes that make a huge difference. And it's to use your voice, sign up to the campaign. The more schools that sign up, the louder the voice we have. And to sign up, you have to be someone from the leadership team, senior leadership team, or a school governor, head teacher, someone with power who has control over the school's energy, who has control over procurement and the way food is served in the kitchens. We were inspired by the young people. So it's about listening to your students and giving them some ownership and implementing the changes that they want to see in their school. And to write to your MP. I mean, that's always a great move. If your MP gets 100 letters saying support the Let's Go Zero campaign, then they might start listening to their constituents. And money is a huge buying factor. I mentioned the 32,000 schools in the UK. Imagine if we all changed to solar panels or transferred the money that we spend on school energy into renewable electricity. So it's incredible if we collaborate and work together, how much power schools can have across the UK and within our communities. As I mentioned, so we've got all these amazing resources on Transform Our World. And we've got a huge network of schools joining the Let's Go Zero campaign, and a huge network of organizations and local authorities that want to support schools to get there. It's about showing schools that they're no longer alone. It's not that one geography teacher banging their head against the brick wall trying to make sustainable actions happen in their school. But if you are that one lone geography teacher in your school, this tool that we've produced will really support you. So it's called the School's Climate Action Planner. I won't do it justice, and I'm really hoping this video will play and you'll be able to hear it. So the Global Action Plan helped us create this planner, and it's to support schools take impactful action across all areas of their school life. So it's campus, curriculum, community, and culture. And I'm hoping this will work. So,
the School's Climate Action Planner is a free online tool designed to help your school take action to reduce its environmental impact. Whether you're at the start of your climate action journey or you're already on your way, the tool helps you to identify the steps you can take to make a better world for both people and planet. So let's get started. The first stage of using the tool is to enter some basic details about your school. Once you've done this, click Save, and the next part of the tool will open up. Here, there are some very simple yes or no questions that we require you to answer. These questions allow us to gain a deeper insight into how your school works and the impact it's currently having on the environment. Once you've answered each of these questions, the tool recommends the best actions for your school, so you can start selecting actions for your tailored action plan. If you would like to see all of the actions on the tool, you can click here. The actions are split into 4 pathways: community, culture, curriculum, and campus. Within each action block, there are 3 icons: a flower representing impact, a pound sign representing cost, and a clock representing effort. If you click here, you are able to read some more information about the action. Here you will get a more comprehensive explanation and access to links of organisations that offer support in this area. Once you have considered all of this, you can decide whether to add an action to your plan, tick that you've already completed the action at your school, or decide that the action is not applicable for your school or situation. We recommend that you select around 6 actions to start with. As you make these selections, your school's climate action planner is being built. When you scroll down, you'll be able to see a table of all of the actions that you've selected with extra details, where a PDF version is also available. Besides each of these actions in the table, you can mark them as complete, decide to share an update on your progress, or remove the action from your action plan. You always have the opportunity to add more actions and progress even further. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, you will see your climate action progress. This is represented by a progress bar. Here you can see how much progress you have made based on previously completed actions, selected actions, and those yet to complete. There is a contact section at the bottom of the page for any questions you have along the way. So there it is, your live, ever-changing School's Climate Action Planner. It is completely tailored and specific to your school and is designed to make moving towards becoming a school committed to climate action that little bit easier. We really hope it's a useful tool for your school and wider community, and we look forward to hearing your updates. Happy actioning!
So the School's Climate Action Planner is there to support schools get to zero carbon. So it asks schools to fill out a really simple form saying, what school they are, primary, secondary, how many students they have, and then what they're already doing. And then the lovely planner will churn out what the school should do next for the least amount of time, the least amount of cost, and the biggest carbon reduction impact. And they will, the 4 sort of different areas, the campus, the curriculum, what else was that? Sorry, campus, curriculum, community and culture. And it suggests what they can do. And then as the school goes along its journey, they can tick off what they've done, or they can add and expand it. Or, if it's not really working at that point in time, they can just get rid of it off their action planner and pick something else that will work for the school. And then down the bottom, it has a sort of roadmap to get to zero carbon, and it shows the school's progress. And as they tick off things, the green bar starts growing. So schools can really visualize what impact they're having within their school community and school grounds. And it's a really great way. I find that a lot of schools don't know what to do next. Oh, we've done the active travel, we've got a school street, or we have Meat Free Mondays. What do we do next? So they can go on to this action planner, and it will tell them, here you go, here's your next step. And it will gradually get harder, and it will gradually become retrofit your school building. But I mean, we've got 9 years to go to zero carbon by 2030. And hopefully with our demand and the campaign growing in strength, where the government will sit up and listen and give schools that extra funding and support that they do need. So those really hard tasks in the future will become easier with that funding and support. And I mean, that's sort of our most recent creation for the Let's Go Zero campaign. But looking to the future, and we're planning on producing more useful resources. So WWF really want to create a schools carbon footprinting planner, which we're hoping to tie into the schools action planner. But obviously there's a lot more science and data that goes into that, so it's taking a bit longer to produce, but that is to come. And we're really hoping to build a community of sharing and networking, so that school in Scotland can speak to that school in Cornwall, and they can share their learning and create more of a community of how do we get to zero carbon. We're not doing this by ourselves, we're doing it with this huge backing of organizations as well as schools. And yeah, as Jamie mentioned, it's all about teamwork, and teamwork getting there.